Hi, I'm Victoria Gregory. I'm the producer on the film Copa 71. The story came about because of my husband about 3 years ago, 2019, and was listening to the radio, heard one of the England ladies talking about this story, and she was the explanation as to it being hidden for over 50 years and them being shamed into not talking about it, and but then the scale of it. And so my husband rang me and went, "You've got to listen to this. This is unbelievable, and if somebody's not made a documentary, you should look into it." And that is how it started. And then over the course of the last 3 years, hooked up with Rachel, who we worked with before. James is my business partner at New Black Films, and we set about finding these ladies, which was a challenge in itself. And timing wise, we knew that with the World Cup coming up this year, that it would be a good kind of pivotal point for it. We didn't plan what happened with Spain, but it still shines a light that there's work to be done, and we are not, as Alex Morgan sort of says in the film, we're never done. We carry on.
Victoria started looking into it and got in touch with me just before the world went into lockdown. And we then spent the first sort of 6 months of COVID researching, looking into people. And one of the useful things was that meant that everybody in the world was at home. So whenever we wanted to get hold of somebody, we knew kind of where they would be at some point. But we started from a point of not of having the England team who had heard on the radio, and
You didn't believe me. You looked it up as well.
yeah, when I first looked it up, we like to say this, there was not even a Wikipedia entry on this tournament. It didn't really exist online. And the way that we understood how big it was actually through the scrapbooks and the memorabilia that the England team had kept from 1971 when they were in Mexico themselves. So they had these Technicolor pages of newspaper. You kind of think, okay, well, you can't have gone so far as to completely create this yourselves. Like, this is real, but it was the only physical evidence that existed, and there was nothing online. So we used those newspapers. We started to get names from them, started to understand how the matches had played out, how the tournament had played out, and built all the original research from there. And then, sort of thread by thread, you pull one and you start to find connections to all the other people around the world, where everybody is. Some of the women who'd been in the tournaments had kept in touch with each other, and then one person from the England team had kept in touch with one person from the Argentinian team, who kept in touch with one person from the Mexican team, and then you started to find them all, and we started to actually bring together an entire team sheet of all the players who competed in the tournament.
My name is Birte Kemps in Danish, and I was a goalkeeper. You know, the most important person on the team. Because when I do a mistake, you can see it up on the. Okay, yes, but I am 74 years old, and further, when I was working, I was a teacher. You know, on a telephone, you can see the telephone number, and I saw this England. Don't take it. Sometimes I got a call from Milano and something. I think, oh yes, but then I found out what it was. Yes, and I said, oh, amazing, and I didn't believe it, because who will make a film, a documentary of this event? But I think I was really positive.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
You were very positive.
Oh, thank you.
You were being excited. You weren't,
Yeah,
because you hadn't
yeah.
met me yet, so it was
No.
okay.
I thought you were.
Since then,
you were an
since then
old lady. But then I said, oh, such a young one. What can she do? That's true. Yes, but
You had to explain to me where you lived, and that not everyone in Denmark lived just near Copenhagen, and that I had to
no,
travel.
not me. I living on the other part of Denmark, so near the ocean, and it's a long way to Copenhagen.
My name is Anne Stengård, and I was a middle defense, and I'm 68, and I live on Fyn. It's a small island in the middle of Denmark, and I grow apples and pears, and so it's a little unusual for a woman to do that. So, yeah, when Rachel contacted me, I think it was great, that somebody wants to bring our story out and put on focus what we did. And it was only family and friends who knew about, from the school, and we never talked about it at home. Not, I have 2 children who played football, both of them, and I didn't tell them that much about it. No, I don't know why, because I was very proud of what we did, but you know, I it was not something I talked about, and it was not because I was ashamed. I don't know why. Maybe I saw no future in it, but they both played football, and we played football together. In the end, I played football till I was 54. So it was Trine in the left side and Kristin in the right side and me in the middle, and we scored a lot of goals. And I tell them, as long as they call me mother in the field, I play. But if they don't do it anymore, then I had to stop, because then they are embarrassed of me.
I mean, I think that there's a joy in the athleticism, in the teamwork, in the competition, and the idea that women are still expected to be activists at the same time as being athletes is sort of exhausting.
Yes.
And just allowing girls to play, I think that's the real takeaway, is that we always hope that with this film, yes, of course it's about football, but you can replace the word football, and when we're talking about it, with so many other, so many other, like me myself, I'm not a football player. I didn't grow up playing a lot of sport, but I get so excited when I can see how people are expressing themselves through that sport, and the idea that you're not allowed to do that, or that there's a reason why it has to be taken away from anyone, is it's so confusing and quite abhorrent, and I think that's what we're looking towards now.
Yeah, I think people should feel joy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would like people to feel joy at seeing this incredible competition, the incredible performance, but also shame. I think there's too much resistance to apologizing for the past. Many of our contributors, can't change what's happened, but you can acknowledge that it was the wrong thing, and many people suffered. In Denmark where they won, it was celebrated a little bit more, but for a lot of the other players, when they were shamed, and that's terrible. Yeah.
I think when we've talked about this a bit, with like the level of trauma that a lot of the players have suffered when they came back. If you gaslight someone into believing that over 110,000 people didn't come to watch you play, what's that going to do to the individuals, and then from the individuals into a team, and then when you expand that, I think that's a good point about the apology. Like,
Spanish FA, we won't apologise.
Why?
Just apologise. It doesn't. It's
just
like,
say,
is your ego so big that you can't. You
just
have
say
to
no.
still
It's not.
history?
It's not acceptable, and it's not acceptable that those individuals now are also young girls who are looking up to this, and they're seeing that. So just allow people to get on with what they're doing. Yes. And what do you have to say about this, Peter?
Yes, it's very important. If you really love it, then do it. Even what the boys said, oh, you are not good, you are too slowly, and a lot of other things. And we don't care, because we find it was fun to do that, and it is very amazing to see that the other teams, the Mexican and French, said on the question, why did you do it? Because I want to play football, because it is fun. Then end of story. And then we did it, and the old man in Federation, he had to, oh yeah, they didn't like it.
I say when at the end of all of the interviews that we did with all of the players, which was almost sort of 30 interviews around the world, and in all in different languages, from women who grew up in very different parts of the world, but there was a refrain that came out all the way through.
Yes.
There were two different things we said early. When they were talking about their early lives, all the women would say, well, I believed for one point that I was the only person, like the only girl in the world that wanted to play football. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I felt there was something wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And I was shamed for wanting that. And like there was something fundamentally wrong with me. So they get to Mexico and suddenly they're all seeing like this is this parallel universe where there's all of these women and all of these girls on the pitch. And that's a reality. And now you're born into that new reality. You go back home and that's taken away again. And then the other question I'd ask to everyone was at the end of each interview is, what would you say to yourself right now if you could talk to your 18-year-old self, your 20-year-old self, your 23-year-old self? And I would say almost to a woman, they all said, be yourself. Mm-hmm. Keep doing what you're doing and you'll be okay and you'll enjoy it and you'll love it. And I think that was very, very inspiring. It was the advice from all of these ladies around the world that I got.
Yeah. And it was very, sorry. It was very lovely to see the film yesterday because I could recognize what they said. Oh, that's the same feeling that I had, and Mexican and French and English. That was amazing.
I felt not like a one team, but we were 6 teams together, feeling we all won in this championship because I felt united with the other girls. It was so strong feelings to see it yesterday.
I could see it in the film. Yeah.
So I thank
thank you.
and Rachel for doing this possible. And I can't wait to come home to Denmark and have the opportunity to let family and friends and all I know see this film.